I'm so sorry for my English sometimes because I'm like in zombie mode. I wake up really early today because my roommate snores like a pig, so. Yeah, my presentation is about Burp. Who knows Burp? Burp Suite? Awesome. Who use Burp Suite? Cool, 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 cool. The talk names should be some Burp Kung Fu, but after talk a friend, and she forced me to change to karate. He is a black belt in karate. I would not discuss with her about keeping the name Kung Fu. So basically, it's who am I? Basically, I'm a team lead for the security team on the security team's IPAN. Some projects that I have contributed and some conferences I was a speaker. So that's it, nothing important, let's move. So why I did this talk? I just realized that a lot of people using Burp, they don't do the proper tuning for Burp. They just install Burp and they start to use it. It's a quite common mistake. And I saw it happens several times. And the people just, didn't find vulnerabilities because of that. So this is my point with this talk. Another point, I faced pretty hard times testing APIs and some web applications with dynamic headers and dynamic fields. So this is my point here. And another problem I have in my tests, how to track issues inside Burp and how to track issues during the requests. So this is why I created this talk. I hope it's useful. So let's start a little bit with some questions about Burp. Do you know how many insert points by default in Burp? Who? Sorry? Oh yeah, awesome. Take it. Man, I don't know if I can drop it. So guys, the insert points by default in Burp, the number is 30, okay? So, it's 30 only. Nowadays, we have really, really big web applications, right? So these 30 points, almost in all my cases, they are not enough, okay? So what happens if you don't increase this number? No, you're not. Come on, guys, don't be shy. I have chocolate for everyone here. No, not everyone, sorry. Come on, what's gonna happen if I don't increase this 30? No.
It will drop the rest?
Exactly. Who told before? Yeah. So guys, if you don't increase this number, Burp just will ignore the another insert points. So for example, if you have a vulnerability in the first insert point, you're gonna get fucked. Because Burp is not gonna test it, and so you're gonna miss the vulnerability, okay? So when you start to use Burp, check it, okay? About the target, do you know the technology behind the application? Do you know, let's say, the code behind this application? If you know it, okay, we're gonna see what can I do. If you don't know, okay, it's a normal idea to keep it in the full state. But if you know the target, sorry guys, for this question I don't have chocolate. You can remove no-sense checks, okay? So why you can do that? It's because you can remove the nonsense checks and it will be faster, So your scan, your approach for this test, it will be skip some tests that does make sense. For example, if you have a PHP application, right? So if you have PHP application, why you should test for ASP.NET? So there is no sense to do something like that. The idea for this individual issues is something like that, you know. So I want to explain you about that because for dynamic headers, you have to create a macro, and you're going to see that. And it makes the scan or your action against the target a little bit slower. And this is one point that we can do to make it faster. Okay? So if you know the application properly, if you know the language or whatever, you can come here and, you know, so remove the things that makes no sense for your application. Right? Any questions? Nope? Good. Also, we have audit optimization. It impacts directly in your Burp scanning, okay? Normally, I like to use this last one. Sorry, I don't know how to say this in English. But yeah, this option makes Burp insert in a lot of different place in the request, okay? So, of course, you have fast and normal, but I prefer this one. And another one, it's minimize false positives. You know, so in my perspective, it is easier to handle the bugs and, you know, to create the reports when Burp tries to minimize false positives. You know, so this is some like tuning that I do in Burp before I start some project. Okay. So now it's getting better. The idea for now is to test when you have some headers to test in the application. Okay, so this one, you can earn a chocolate. How do you deal with static headers in Burp? When you have, you know, something there in the header that it's always static. For each request, it will be the same. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Come on chocolate. No? 2 chocolates. No? Okay, so I say for me. Guys, to deal with static headers, it's pretty easy. You know, you don't need to even install an extension in Burp. You know, so you have this option there, match and replace rule, request header. Then you just leave it blank. You know, it's written there. You know, so it's pretty easy. If you leave this field blank, you just replace for something. In this case, for example, I created this authorization header and some admin password in base 64 encoded. Okay, and I just created a static token. It's like a commentary. Okay, good. Perfect. So this is the screen. You know, it's gonna be like that. Request header, authorization, something, and static header. So for each request your Burp receives, it will be add this header in the request. Okay? So if you have dynamic headers, if the application changes the headers for each request, you know, so for example, you have like the header created by the customer, you know, so these guys needs, for example, you know, some checksum or timestamp or something like that. And for each request, you have different headers. Any idea? No? It's a point, but yeah, it works, but it is not the idea here, you know. Someone else? Also. Come on, guys, you don't. The bag. The bag. No? Oh, come on, guys. So let's go there. There is our extension in App Store, you know, so they store for Burp extensions. It's for free. The best option, it's for free. So you don't need to have a Burp Pro to have this extension. You can download it from the Burp store. It's new one, well, let's say, so add custom headers. You just need to install it. Basically, it's gonna work like that, so you can use your scanner, someone else using another security scanner here instead of Burp. Nessus. Yeah, you can do some web application test with Nessus, but it's not the core. Someone else? Man, yeah, Arachne is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, if you don't have Burp Pro, okay, Burp Pro, there is the option, it's scanner. In the free version, you don't have it. So, you still can use it because you can configure your loved scan, like this guy loves Arachne, to go to Burp. And the Burp will add the header and send to the target. Okay? Good? Questions? No? Okay. Okay, good. So basically, this is the structure for the extension. It's pretty clear what you have to do, okay? So first, the header name, the header you want to inject in the request. So if you have some prefix, you can put here, but you cannot forget about should be a space here. If there is no space here, it's gonna break something. For our case, we have to use the regular expression. So I'm gonna show you how to do it easier. And yeah, that's it. Basically, that's it. And later I will show you how to get this regular expression. Okay? I'd say you can click update preview, and you can see how your header is gonna be. Okay? Good? Easy? So, someone would try how to extract in the easy way, the regex inside the request, because I saw a few guys struggling creating some regex, by the hands. Regex sometimes it's quite confusing and, weird stuff. And I found a way to find it very easy. Someone has some idea? I can pay a bottle of vodka. Come on. No, not Pearl. Come on, guys, no one? Sorry? No, man, it's easier than that. Yeah, it's easier than that. No? Okay. I have one chocolate and one bottle of vodka for me. So, basically, to get the regex, we can use Burp sequencer. Do you know Burp sequencer? Someone used it before? So, this tool is already in Burp, so you don't need to install any extension, nothing. It's pretty easy. In my case, what I did is I created, a fake page for this, and it creates a customer header. It's some random value. And then you just send it to sequencer. Awesome. Inside the sequencer, you can go here, configure, and then you can go extract from regex group, okay? Then you already have the regex. But you have to come here, and double click here. And it will generate the regex for you. So after that, just copy and paste. Okay? I'm gonna show you where we should copy and paste. Another thing, if you want to make sure that your tokens are getting correctly using the regex, you can use the live capture. So the Burp starts to make several requests to this token page, okay? And then you can, just copy and paste in some TXT file and you're gonna see all the tokens there, okay? So after that, just, paste the regex here, easier than use Python or create extension or create a script or something, so everything inside Burp. The idea when they start to write this talk is to use only Burp to do stuff, so sometimes you don't have all the tools you need, and if you have Burp, so then you can use only Burp to do that. This is a important configuration you should do in Burp, because it's gonna drive how the requests gonna work to your target and through Burp. For example, if you want the headers going through targeting, intruder, scanner, sequence, or repeater, or wherever, you have to click here. If you don't click here, of course, it's not gonna work. So I lost, a few hours, oh, this header is not appearing here, so a lot of times, and I just realized that I did the wrong scope for this header, So every time you are applying something like that, extension or something, you have to remember about the scope, because, so it changes totally how it's gonna work, okay? Oh, okay. For example, if you are trying to just to test the application, if you click in proxy, for example, if you already have the header in the request, if you check proxy, it will duplicate the header, because so you already put a header there, and after that you are running a macro to add another header, so it will be duplicated. And most of the applications, when you have duplicated headers, the application just drop your request. So because of that, I created this stuff. Not created, but I put in our agenda, so how to track problems in Burp, okay? Also, if you are using some scanner to go through Burp and to add these headers, it must be checked. Why? Sorry? Yeah, man, so you can take my chocolate. Okay. So, yeah, guys, if your scanner is going through Burp, you must check these options, because, I show you. Your scanner connects in Burp, and Burp connects to your target. So, and your scanner is using the prox feature from Burp to connect your target, right? So if it's not checked, your scanner is not gonna work with this header. Okay? Good? Questions? Nope? Awesome. Some limitations about this added custom headers. The first limitation is that the custom headers was not able to get regex from headers. That sounds a little bit weird, right? Because it's to add headers and don't get information from headers. Initially, it was designed to get the regex from the HTTP body, so. And then I just realized it, and I had to do some patch for this code, okay? So the patch was pretty simple. It's here, just change some stuff on the code. And, this was the first limitation. The second limitation is you can just add only one header, so if you need 2 headers, dynamic headers, you cannot do it right now, but the idea is to update it, okay? So then I have to do this, I have to change the code, and smile and recompile, so you have to recompile it and load it in your Burp. The good stuff is the owner of the code, the coder, he did the push from the Git yesterday regarding these changes I have made in the code. So right now, if you go to Burp and install it, you don't need to recompile anymore. You know? So, but if you want to do it for the, if you get it from old source or something like that, yeah, you have to recompile it. And the guys that use Kali, it's pretty easy. Just know you can follow the instructions here to recompile it. And for the guys that use Windows, you have to download some SDK 8 something for Java to recompile it, because the last version is not very compatible with Burp. So I have to, install it maybe 6 times to make it work. Yeah, so Ismail and recompile. Okay, again, so I spoiled my next slide. So then another limitation, it's you can add only one header. The solution for it, it's you can write another extension and load together. It's gonna work. And also you can use Burp upstream proxy to Burp. So someone knows about the upstream proxies? I cannot see the people saying, but yeah, okay. So this is the idea, So, but in the future, the idea is to make it more flexible, okay? Let's talk about random inputs. We talk about random headers, okay? For tokens of cross-site request forwarded tokens or something. And now let's talk about a little bit random inputs, The idea for these random inputs, when you have some application that validates, for example, usernames, so you cannot scan it because the Burp validates the username, and if the username is already in the database, Burp cannot scan it because it validates and say, oh, it's wrong, so I'm not going to do nothing, okay? For example, username and emails, most of the fields with this functionality. Another thing, it's pretty nice. The extension is request randomizer. It's free extension also, so if you don't have Burp Pro, you can use it anyway. And so basically, you can select the randomizer here, but you need to install the Jython, so it's a mix of Java and Python, so you download it, configure in Burp, and then you can load this extension. It's pretty easy. It's just written in the description how to do that. So the same rules applies here. So if you don't set the proper scope, it's not going to work. So you have to understand a little bit where you want this random inputs should be. Okay. Okay. So the idea is basically it's pretty easy to configure and test it. Make any request, okay? I did this one with the username admin, just for testing. You can send to repeater, so here you have the admin, and then you just need to change for this string, okay? Just change for the random string, and click send. So after you send it, the Burp gonna change it for something random, okay? This is the point. Every time it's gonna generate some different strings, and it will be easier you to test when it's validated. Because, as I told you, if there is a username there that exists, and you want to test something more related to this user, you'll not be able to test it because the user is already in the database. So Burp, not Burp, but the application gonna drop you if you try to do something with a pre-existent user. And this way, the user will never exist there. So then you are able to test it. You can do a lot of different stuff. The first one you can do is to send it to scan, if you have Burp Pro in this case. Okay. You have to select the request. The random should be there. So if the random is not there, the scan doesn't know how to do with that. It's be a normal scan. And then, so just send to scan, and that's it. Another thing, it's pretty nice in this extension, you can create a mix of random stuff. You know, for example, if you want to create some stamps in the database, or when it's send something to the application create logs or create users inside the database, you can create stamps. For example, I create here my crash stamp dash random, so it will be like that. You know, this way I know that this user was created by me. You know, so this way I can track my actions inside the application and inside the database. You know, and if someone say, "Ah, man, oh, it's a lot of users created here," yeah, it was me. You know, so then you can say that it was you. So more things we can do. For example, it's created like a random and you know, for emails. If the application is validating emails, it's easier you to bypass this validation, you know, to create a lot of users inside the database using like that, you know. So just put random here, and you have this handle here, but this part is fixed. It's static, sorry. More stuff, you know, some different approach, and you can create a lot of you know, you can put how many random stuff you want. So if you want to create random stuff using numbers, it's really easy. It's the same idea. You can use random num, you know, so then you have random num. And you can do mixing of the buff, you know, so you can create random strings and create random numbers. So it's pretty easy, same stuff, now you have it. So, guys, another question. How can you proceed with SQL injection in this case? You know, if you want to do a SQL injection and it is validating the username or the password, for example, and you have to inject it, but for some reason the application checks if the username exists, and after that you have your SQL injection. But if the username is already there, so you will be not able to inject it because, you know, the user are there, the application say, hey, the user is here, so you cannot proceed for the next step. So, how can you do that? Yeah, but where? Yeah. So the idea here, you can use the same stuff in SQL injection, SQL map. You can mix the two tools to do something like that, you know. So the SQL map, you have the option suffix and prefix. Then you can put this string random inside your parameter for SQL map to extract the database. Okay, so then you have prefix and suffix, and this prefix and suffix can be handled. It's pretty good. Also, you have the parameter randomize in Burp, in SQL map. It makes something like that, but for email, for example, it's not be possible because you cannot mix the prefix and suffix with randomize. Okay? Good, is it clear? Good. So if it's not, I'm still here, you know, after the, the presentation, then we can talk. So this is just only idea how to mix the randomness for this stuff in Burp and SQL map. So to tracking stuff, I don't know how much time I have. To track stuff, it's pretty easy. You can choose the session handler tracker. It's already in Burp, you know, so it's just click there in sessions. You can track everything related to the request you are doing. But the problem for this tracker, it's keeping all the requests there. You cannot, you know, clear it. And at some point, your machine gonna freeze because so it's just consuming stuff. So it's a lot of stuff happens here, and it's all. If you are testing a big application, you're gonna have problems. Another thing is use the flow extension. Also, it's for free. It helps a lot when you try to debug what are you doing. Basically, it's the same for Session Tracker. You can see all the requests, and this part here, it's pretty nice because it shows you from where this request is coming from. So if it's proxy and scanner and repeater, you can see everywhere the requests. So then you have idea if you have some problem with some tools or if you have some problem with some requests, you can check the feature for Burp that's sending this request. Basically, that's it for this. And how you can see, we have the customer header here. So then you can track the problems. The best part of the flow extension, not the best part, but very useful part, you can say to the flow how many requests will be on the screen. So you just can set, for example, keep the last 100 requests. So, and it's easier to track, and it not use your entire memory. Normally I use 50. For me, it's okay. So conclusions. When you are, dealing with dynamic headers or dynamic tokens for each request or something like that, or tokens that change, for example, for minutes or at least some seconds. We have some applications that work like that. So for each request, you have different tokens, or the token is valid for only 1 minute. Okay, the token is valid only for 1 minute. And this is a really good approach because you have a new token for each request. So you don't even to think about, oh man, the application is stopped, the session is invalidated, or the token is not valid anymore. So you don't need to take care about that. So just keep it running, and it's gonna create a new token for you for each request. Okay. It also works. This extensions works not only for headers. Now it's after the patches work for headers, and again, if you go to the GitHub right now, the patch is applied, so you don't need to recompile it anymore. It works for fields, so for user inputs, for the web applications, for API, doesn't matter. As I told you, so the scan will be a little bit slower because for each request, Burp needs to run the macro, create another request, and do the request before and get the regex and put in the new request. Of course, it takes some time, but it's not that much. Also, now you know how to to turn in Burp to remove the no sense tests. Okay, so that's it. Because that it's important to perform the tuning before you start to scan like that. And the last conclusion was that thing that I had said to you. The idea is to put more headers available in the extension. Okay, it's Java coder here. Okay, we have a voluntary to create headers for us. So guys, that's it. I hope you have enjoyed. So it's a lot of information, but everything it's pretty easy. You just need to go there. Spend some time. Also, you don't need to recompile anymore. This is the good point. And questions, tomatoes. This is the time to throw something.
We have 2 minutes for questions. Questions?
Come on, guys, I have a lot of chocolate here.
Thanks for such great speech. I have a question, like maybe you could told us some sources of information about tuning of Burp, and because when I search I found only level up speech about good setuping of Burp and nothing more.
Cool. So as I told you, I'm sharing my experience here. So I had a lot of fights with Burp. So to understand how this works. The best part for this extension was that I have to read the entire code. I don't know if it's good or not, but at least I understood how it works properly, you know. So, yeah.
And we have time for one more question, so. Okay, no questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Ewerson.
Thank you, guys.